Yo, yo, what's good? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to Answering the Bell, our Sunday morning call-in. This is number 65 in the series of call-ins, and we're here on this Sunday, December 11th, 2022. Welcome everybody. Glad to be here. And for those who have come in with belated birthday wishes, thank you. Some knew, some didn't. Only a hit dog will holler. I've talked about that, but I appreciate those who took the time within themselves to express sentiment. Appreciate it. We're coming in this morning off of another fight weekend where we have fights throughout the day. It's been this way for several months now. And how I notice it is I like to produce my show in the eye of the storm on Saturdays, typically in the afternoons. But I haven't been able to line up guests for the show because there have been so many fights every weekend from afternoon to evening. Now, I like the fact that they're no longer staggering the fights, opposite one another in the evenings as far as start times. But you have to really wonder what the hell the powers that be are in boxing are doing. I think they throw stuff at the wall and see what will stick. It happens a lot. So, let's see who we got in the building thus far. I know people are still coming in. People are rousing. People are busy. See who we got out here. 704 Joe in the building. He said he's cycling and listening. Antonio MMA out there saying, salute Sensei and happy belated birthday, Sensei, with a super chat. Thank you, Antonio MMA. Jose Diaz is saying, good morning, Stormy in chat. JC in the building saying, Sensei and good people. Yes, sir. Antonio says, smash the like button as you enter the building. Please wipe off the bottom of your shoes. No ish in this house. Yes, sir. Chi-Town's finest is out there saying blessings and love, family. Same to you, Chi-Town. Good to see you. I think I heard KQKC said he hadn't seen you in a minute or something during his broadcast yesterday. So make sure you let KQ know you're okay if you haven't contacted him. Thrill Hill in the building saying salute Stormy B, salute to you. Mangus Allen is in there saying good morning. And Boxing and Barbecue, my man, is out there saying morning Stormy. Same to you, brother. Yeah. So it's one of those days, guys. I definitely left my glasses not near. So I'm reading this and trying to hold tight that I can see everything very well as far as what's being typed on the screen. So forgive me if I make a few flubs. Don't have my extra set of eyes with me this morning nearby. I mean, I could put you guys on hold a minute while I go get them, but I'm just realized I didn't have them with me as I launch the show. So here we go. Just pretend like you just got in the Uber and Stevie Wonder driving, okay? What's your destination? Man, you know why I'm laughing so heartily at that? Because they say Stevie can see, man. And I believe him. There was probably a time when he couldn't see. But with all the advances in medicine and everything and the money that man has, you could better believe Stevie's seeing something now, huh? He's seeing something. Did y'all ever see that video clip of all the artists on stage singing and stuff? And then somebody was walking past Stevie and they bumped a microphone that was on the stand, and the microphone stand was falling over, and Stevie reached out and grabbed it and held it back up like that. Man, that dude can see, man. What the hell is that? He's either Daredevil or he can see, because Daredevil could do something like that and sense something falling and reach out and grab it, huh? Yeah, you gonna reach out there and grab the mic out of midair, and, you know. Come on, Stevie. The jig is up. But we here this morning. We got Big Homie Coop just in the building saying salute Seafood. Back smack the like button, people. Class is in session, so pay attention. Yeah. How did you guys enjoy the fights last night? I didn't. I'm still crying sour grapes. I don't like what Top Rank Boxing is doing. I don't like what Bob Arum is doing. And I saw a post-fight interview with Bob Arum, and he talked about Sandor Martin running all night, and he gave Teofimo every round. I do not like when incapable fighters, trainers, promoters speak of fighters running in the ring when they have footwork, when they have athleticism, when they have the ability to do more than just stand as if their feet are in quicksand. It's not running. There is only a certain amount of distance that you can move away from an opponent in the ring. And if another fighter is incapable of limiting your options in doing so, it is not the fighter who is mobile. It is not their fault that the other person is incapable. It is not their job to make it easy for them. So what the hell is Bob Arum talking about? He has promoted more than a few fights with fighters who are mobile, who have great footwork. Anybody ever hear of Michael Nunn? Ray Leonard? I guess they were runners too, weren't they, Bob? But see, with age and senility, and also the Teflon moniker, which makes you think that you are now untouchable because you be advanced in age, you only reiterate why you need to go sit the hell down somewhere. You are buried in quicksand and can't get the hell out of the way of honest assessment. So I think your judgment is clouded, Bob. If Sandor Martin were Bob Arum's fighter, he'd be telling you how great a boxer Sandor is. He'd be shoveling that every bit as hard as the bullshit of Teofimo. Yeah. That's what he'd do. Shadow 979 in the building. Devin Blocker in the building. Anthony Jones. We can park right here for a moment and talk about fighters that are incapable of doing the natural, basic aspects of boxing. Stick and move, slip and counter, give angles, cut the ring off, retreat, advance. Interestingly, out of the fights that were fought on the top-ranked card last night, a lot of these guys that were the house fighters did not display any of what I'm talking about. Oops! I said it. That's right, Devin Blocker, the fundamentals. See, I'm trying to see if you're paying attention. Keyshawn Davis. Before you talk, you need to learn the walk. So what? You had a bit of amateur success. It didn't lead to gold. And that's a good thing because it left a ceiling of achievement that you have yet to reach. And there is so much more to learn. In a boring performance of which an elder statesman in the sport who is rugged and durable, all you proved was that you could win the rounds. But to hear others tell it, you would have been Sugar Ray Robinson and Shane Mosley and Roberto Duran all rolled up into a nice blunt to be smoked. still got a ways to go, son. So those men who are at the championship level currently, and dare we say, Devin Haney, keep your eyes on what you're doing. Don't worry about no one else, son. And if your coach and trainers can't tell you that, you can come to Stormybman's channel and I'll let you know everything that they omit. Because in order to become a complete fighter, a 5-dimensional fighter, everything that you're doing right now does not equate beyond a 2-star fighter. An attitude assists with you gaining more dimensions than anything else. And a lot of you that fought on that card last night fall short when it comes to attitude, aptitude. Yeah. You see, I'll tell you what needs to be said because I don't give a damn what you think. I don't give a damn about your social media comments and all of that foolishness, because that's exactly what that is. But I will always hang a quote around your neck and a dare. Prove me wrong. Get your ass in the ring with capable bodies. Someone who can test. Yeah. See, that's where it comes into play. The test. A lot of you don't want the test. And why do you not want the test? Because you're not a study. You're not a student of. You don't really put in the work. You think you were the first person to have fast hands? You think you're the first person that could get out there and pound your chest like an ape, by the way, and yell and scream at the top of your lungs because you're defeating someone who isn't as adept as you? Keep on living, son. Jarrell, Big Baby, Anderson. It's nice to come in there messing with my streaming this morning. Yeah. It's outside of my control. But to continue on with what I was saying, yeah, that's what they're doing. But I'm going to continue on. Jarrell, Big Baby, Anderson. You got out there last night and Jerry Forrest went upside your head. Now, mind you, for your career, both amateur and professional, there is nothing about that man that states he is of the same level and ilk of you, but he has fought some names in the division and giving those guys rounds. But he rolled the dice with you. I don't know that he rolled the dice with all of those others that he faced. And a certain amount of respect goes out to him for trying. But you have no idea his actions and what they did for other people who may be looking to face you. It's time to take tutelage into consideration. Just because you're a big guy, just because you have a big punch, means not a damn thing. Because there are others with big punches. There are others who are big guys. There are others who are even more capable. You didn't invent the rodeo. The rodeo existed way before you arrived on the scene, son. Salute to Diana out there in that super chat. We appreciate you, Diana. Thank you for your support. Yeah. There's a reason that Alexander Usyk defeated Anthony Joshua twice. Joshua, who is much bigger than Anderson, has a longer reach, possibly more power. Usyk took that guy apart mentally and beat him physically. And Usyk is one of those fighters that has come up from lower weights before turning pro and finally arriving at heavyweight with size and dimensions that I have always stated is premium, if not optimum, at heavyweight. 6'3", 220 pounds. Back in 1974, when George Foreman defended his heavyweight title against Muhammad Ali, George was 24 years old. Ali was 32. George was 6'4", 220 pounds. Ali was 6'3" and 215 pounds. Both had 80-inch reaches. That's pretty optimum for heavyweight. Anything bigger than that typically means that you're a bigger guy, but that doesn't mean that you will be optimum or premium. You can be an aberration. Yeah. And in this sport, aberrations, they come and they go. They do. You can get upset all you want. You can like whomever you want. That doesn't make me a liar. It makes me more observant of what really is going down. And in the heavyweight division, if you do not learn how to protect that which is most valuable, and in case you don't understand what that is, I'll share with you. Your head and your chin. You soon will be separated from it. Yeah. I don't lie when I say these things. I present the truth to you. Big homie Coop says, pretty optimal to say the least. Yeah. Diana says, these young ones must get stronger mentally, get off of the pride, and learn to be humble. It'll take them so much further. There's something about Jared that rubs me the wrong way. Diana, if I'm not mistaken, you are a mom, right? And if I am not mistaken in your being a mom, you just made a remark based on experience, intuitive experience. If you said that something rubs you the wrong way about Jared, you can believe your intuition is spot on. There are character fallacies. There are character questions. There are an assortment of circumstances pointing to character in that young man that have yet to be exploited. And I, like you, see it. It's there, people. It exists. That's no hate. That's observation. The biggest punch doesn't always win. The biggest guy doesn't always win. The trickster doesn't always win. The cheater. But that man of conviction and substance, who's studied up, who's well-tooled, well-schooled, always has a chance. With patience, they allow you to make the mistakes that you need to make in order for them to be successful. It happens every day. So you can dress up. You can come to the ring looking like whomever you think of at a whim. But it really means nothing once the bell rings and that opponent who's studied you is waiting for you to make that mistake. Don't worry, y'all. I got this one. Votes UK. Okay? I got this. It's what I do. Votes UK says, good evening, Stormybman and the chat. Did Anderson tick a few more boxes on things we haven't seen, like the chin check. No. On the chin check, go back and look at Mr. Forrest's boxing record and tell me whom he's stopped, whom he has knocked out unconscious. Being game. Going towards the top levels of the sport is not simply enough. There are guys at the top of the sport who don't have that aspect in their character of being game. It just hasn't been exposed yet because they haven't fought who would bring that to the forefront. So the boxes that were checked, Votes UK, I don't know how long you've been out there listening. I checked them already before you made that comment. When I was speaking directly to Diana and the rest of the chat about character, about other things. And when I mentioned about Diana being observant, because she is a parent, I was checking boxes then, Votes UK. Yeah. I was checking boxes. Stormybman is always checking boxes. The list is very long. You know why? Because the race is ongoing. You don't finish until you've completed your race. Your race completion is at the time of your end. That's why growth is significant. That's why the learning process is significant, because you should never stop learning. Typically, those who have lived a life to the length that they begin to deteriorate and things like Alzheimer's set in, that's when that process ceases or slows extremely. You begin the reverse process, then you're going back to second childhood. You see? That's why the world is a sphere, 360 degrees. The yin-yang symbol is 360. Life is 360. You are born into this world, fists clenched, screaming at what is out there and that you have arrived. Do not babies enter this existence in that manner. But you die, leaving this place, eyes closed, palms open, as to all that you leave behind. Yeah. You don't take it with you. But those left behind are supposed to be observant enough to learn the process and take up the baton and say, I shall carry forth where he left off. But you're not smart enough to do that. When I talked about Anderson not knowing these things, you see, anybody can ball a fist up and punch the other subject. But everybody can't get out of the way of that subject's punch and nail him a shot and look good doing it and take him apart systematically, piece by piece, until there is a clean end. No assistance from a referee. Sometimes the cleanest of ends is when you've made the other guy submit and say, I don't want it anymore. I'm done. Yeah. See that word up there? It's up there for a reason. I've worked with guys in the gym and I've given them so many gems. I've had people tell me later, no longer participating in the sport, but they come back and say, man, you made a lot of sense. Do you realize how you opened my mind up to certain things that have helped me in my personal life, my personal travels? That's what that's supposed to be about. Inside the ring is a very small piece. You're not going to spend your entire existence in the ring. You're going to spend more of your existence outside of the ring. But if I give you the keys of how to handle yourself and conduct yourself in that ring, you bet believe that what I've given you, you can handle anything outside of it. So, Volts UK, I hope I answered your question, man. Because I did not say that in attacking. I said that in confirming what needs to be looked at, the true assessment. Diana once again saying they think that they'll be young forever. Not so. Gots to get that character in right now so you can sit back and parlay later over accomplishment with respect of them in the future. Or you'll be sitting back smoking dope with a podcast, talking crap to people and still trying to make them think that you're crazy when you're not, and that you're stronger than you are, and that you're more smart or intelligent than perceived, and it all be a show, a shit show. Sound familiar? Devin Blocker says, if you can't think outside of the box, you're doomed. No, Devin Blocker, No, that's incorrect. I'm going to show you, prove to you why that's incorrect. If you can't think outside of the box, what that means is that you are subjected to behave within the realms of the rule of the box. Does it not? But your ignorance of there being a box restricts you, binds you, subjugates you. Now, mere observation that the box exists only be the beginning. Who made the box, Devin Blocker? Why does the box exist, Devin Blocker? Why has the thought process been condensed to being within the framework of the box, Devin Blocker? Now, when you have the answers to those questions, tell me what's the next step. You're not ready for the next step. Can someone look up for me right now? Take a moment out. Google it. Oxford Dictionary, whatever. What is the meaning of enlightenment? And type that response in the chat. Enlightenment. Do that for me. It's an assignment. Yeah. I do this for a reason, because I want people to use their minds over here. I want you to be more cerebral. You'll find that when you get to a level of consciousness where this is optimized, everything else around you becomes minimized. See, you guys are being very superficial right now. And that's okay, because you're thinking within the box. I will read to you what it says. It is the emphasizing of reason and individualism rather than tradition. Okay? Which means that takes you to a place of consciousness that the norm doesn't deal with. Enlightenment, having the aspiration, inspiration, observation of something that others are not necessarily taking note of. Do you not see this in your everyday walk? Remember when I said this weeks ago on the show, I said reading is fundamental and it's necessary, but comprehension is even more important. Because you have to be able to take something and make sense of it or nonsense of it. But that's why we're here. Now I talk about these fighters. Again, you cannot match wits with someone or that which is witless. Don't try it. You'll have blood oozing out your ears. Have you ever held your head and been like, damn? Look to the heavens. Right? Diana, let me help you with that. I just said, emphasizing reason and individualism rather than tradition. That means that you have found a way to separate from the status quo. You just said, but to me, to be enlightened means wisdom attained to self-stability. Self! That means a person has to enact, take that action on their own accord and say something doesn't feel right here. This shoe is 2 sizes too small. My foot's not going to fit in it. It's hot in here. Open a window. You don't smell that? There you go. We're saying the same thing. Salute to Big Dog Willie, who has shown up once again to let us know that he's been released from the asylum. As he says, Khan, better chin than Hagler and Holyfield. Facts. And certain facilities don't have proper locks to hold people like Big Dog Willie down, because he gets free and loses his discipline and sensibilities. So salute to Big Dog Willie out there. And when you hear those sirens, bruh, don't run, okay? Devin Blocker says, I was trying to say the traditional things. I don't believe in like the box. I see everything but the box. Devin, it's cool, bruh. Don't go too fast. Because when you go too fast, you miss things. You skip over things. The process, even though I said it's a race, it's more like a marathon. And when you run in the marathon, don't you see the people on the side? They have cups of water for you. They hold them out and you slow down just a little bit to grab a cup, take a sip, and keep your on going, right? Yeah. That's what this is about. One of the great examples of all of this was the movie The Matrix, a film that is far deeper than anyone wants to admit, but it was written because someone had an epiphany. But we have to get to the architect. All of us should be aspiring toward getting to the architect. Don't be an agent. An agent just wants to keep people trapped in the system, enslaved to work for the system, to keep the system moving. The system is a program. Who wrote the program? The architect. Why did the architect write the program? Diana says, man, these lives are golden, Stormy. They matter, 100. Yeah, of course they do. Huh? There's not enough observation of what's important. You see how much distraction, diversion that they put before you so you can't see? You can't see what's happening. They don't want you to see. Remember after being given the red pill and Neo woke up free from the Matrix? He asked Morpheus, he said, why do my eyes hurt? Morpheus told him, because you've never used them before. That's a mic drop right there. That's a mic drop right there. Do you know that there are people out here that would rather see you no longer here for simply speaking on this subject? Mangus Allen. It's not a bad film to watch, but do not watch it for entertainment. Watch it for education. Sometimes the things that matter most, they hide the truth about. And then sometimes they put it right in front of your face, because there is one thing about magic. In order for a magician to get away with illusion, a lot of times they have to put the illusion right in front of your face. Now, in this society that we live in now, people no longer really want to think outside the box. They don't want to think for themselves. They want to be told what to do and shown what to do and everything. That's why how-to books are the #1 sellers. That's why YouTube videos, how to do something, is the #1. Because people just don't process and think of things on their own accord and say, you know what, I'm going to do XYZ. I'm going to try to do XYZ. My goal is to attempt XYZ. There was a man who made a car engine that ran on water. It ran on water. H2O. He was supposed to meet with some industrial people, and they were going to devise a way to bring this about, or so he was led to believe. And he went to see his maker in the thereafter, but not before they got his plans from him, not before they found out from him how did he do this. So guess what? The knowledge of how to do it is there, but he was murdered and his plan taken away because the industrial complex wants to make money off of you subjects, slaves. When they drove those gas prices up to $6 and $7, in some places around the country it was even more. I don't even want to think about the prices. Did y'all stop driving? And then they'll dip the prices and they go back up and they dip them. Huh? And every time something happens around the world, they'll tell you, oh, it's affecting the crude oil prices. How? Huh? How? How did that hurricane affect the oil prices? How did that man who killed those people at this rally affect the oil prices? They tell you whatever they want you to know or believe. And did you know in this country, on every major network, they all have the same byline for national news. It's scripted. So whether you're in Vegas or Texas or Minnesota, Chicago or New York, when the news comes out, those anchors, they saying the same thing across the country, but only from the standpoint of what city they may be in. Did you know this? They all wear the same colors for the day's event. So you could be in Vegas doing the evening news and the color scheme may be blue for whatever reason, but it's blue across the country. It's not, you can't have somebody on that's wearing orange. That's the Matrix, people. You didn't know that? Well, now you know. Gerald Alexander, you're absolutely right. Did you ever see the Iron Man film? The first one? You know, Tony Stark created that device to put in his check, the arc reactor, right? And Obadiah Stane, when he couldn't get his own scientists to recreate it, Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps. That's what he told his lead scientist. And the lead scientist said, I'm not Tony Stark. So what did Obadiah do? Went to kill Tony, and take his idea, the arc reactor, out of his chest. And before he did it, he said, you think just because you have an idea that it belongs to you? Let me tell you, man, this stuff they put right in your face, people. But you be watching, entertained, eating your popcorn. Oh, that's great, you know. Wow, kick his ass. Right? This stuff is done by design. It's to help keep you entrapped. I say this because it's time for an awakening, people. These fighters, they're all on the same level. You can like one over another. One might be handsome to you. One might have nice muscles or body or something. One might have charisma. Or it could be a more personalized reason for any of you. But from my eye, the real litmus test is the fact that they're not getting in there with who they should be in there with, Just like the guy who was supposed to get in there with Earl Spence, But he fought last night, right? But it wasn't Earl Spence, was it? Games people play, night or day, they just not matching. Yep. See? I talk about this all the time. My man Healer, the teacher, is in the building. I'm glad you're there because you helped me to remember what I got to do. I got to take care of my responsibility here.
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. Dramatically improved footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mitt work, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a Focus Ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a Focus Ball. When you train with the Focus Ball, you train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit, making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the Focus Ball now.
Salute to my man Healer, the teacher, aka Focus Ball. That's what's good. Hey, and you guys make sure that Danny Dubois get his, this Christmas, okay? Man, when Thrill Hill said that last week, I could have just died, man. That was so perfect. That was perfect. Salute to CB Sports TV. I see you out there, bro. Hey, CB, we're still having pretty decent weather, man. The weather is still in the upper 40s, man. Still in the upper 40s. So we're doing pretty darn good here. Yeah, man, that was what was up. Thrill Hill came up with that one, man. Hey, Healer, ain't nobody talking to you right now. I'm talking to CB. Because CB got Chicago roots, man. I know you ain't got Chicago roots, so you ain't even got to worry about it. You understand? Damn, Volts UK says you're -2 degrees. He says the UK is frozen. Man. Dude, oh. Wow. Well, I guess I can open up the call lines for a minute, right? You know, because it is the call-in show, but I had to cook on something for you guys this morning because it was necessary. But yeah. But I would suggest if someone wants to call, let's talk and touch on what I've been touching on for the past damn near hour and a half. Huh? I find it much more enlightening. Oh, there's that word. Enlightening. Yeah. Salute Opulent LD. I see you out there. You know, some people hang around for scraps. Wait for crumbs to fall off the table and snatch some away and be like, see, I told you I ate at this fool's house. Some people will pull up a seat and sit at the table, fold their hands and wait to be served. We got 518 in the building. I think that's K-Rod. What's going on with you? What's up? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Stormy.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let's see, settings. Hey, K-Rod, call back. I think I had to change my setting on my had to change my setting on the laptop. It reverted back to default. Yeah, you could call back. Salute to PGH Big Dog out there in that super chat. He says, salute Stormybman. Happy birthday, King. T.O. is washed. This other guy with another cherry. No more ducking. Fight Spence. Yeah, I agree. Okay, 518. K-Rod, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my audio reverted back again. Remember I talked about this before, how the sometimes the laptop will revert back to its defaults after a certain period of time, and it must have just did it again, you know, and I didn't check that before before I went live, but I know what to do whenever that happens now, so I apologize for that, but we good. Let me turn this music. Let me turn this music off here. Yeah, but go ahead. What you got?
Oh man, I got a lot to talk about, and it's gonna be very destructive. Yeah, let's just talk about the match room, and then I'll work my way in the top rank, and then I'll close it out with Bud and Ebenezer. For match room, yeah, like I'll talk about the female side with Ebony Bridges and Shannon O'Connell. I really wasn't impressed. I'm not sold on Bridges. I don't think she's that good. But Shannon definitely she definitely could have won that fight if she moved her head more and had more defense on top of her, you know, style. But she wasn't implementing that at all, and I don't really see anything different with Ebony. She's just like a very limited fighter, and she could easily get stopped by any of the top leading fighters in that division at bantamweight. But I think either way, it just shows that Eddie Hearn, he moves his fighters a certain way where they're not really being tested by the absolute best. But that fight just didn't really sell anything good to me. But I think sooner than later, in the future, I don't think that she'll be able to contend with any other high level fighters at the championship level. And then with Josh Warrington and Lopez, I was very happy for Lopez. Shout out to Mexico. I think that's at least, correct me if I'm wrong, 7 champions total, minus all the Mexican American talent. But yeah, I'm proud of him, man, because if Luis Alberto Lopez, if he could unify that division and become undisputed, then that's a true in my eyes, he's a true actual Mexican world class championship level fighter compared to Canelo Alvarez. And I think a lot of people should get behind people like him more, because he's such a good fighter, and I like everything out of what he did. But I think what he should have done with Josh Warrington was not try to use up the referee a lot to save him in those exchanges, because I think what he failed to do was that he tried to use up the referee as a medium to basically hold Warrington back from being dirty in the fight, and I think that's what caused him to get headbutted. And Warrington, he knew that he was getting his butt whipped, so he wasn't really doing anything but just trying to basically go for broke and just do whatever he did necessary to try to make the fight winnable. But I think Lopez, he did a good job. Just need to start being more aggressive late game and not tire out to put himself in a bad position.
Well, you unpacked a lot right there, man. But I'm gonna slow it down a little bit. Ebony Bridges. I watched that fight, and Shannon O'Connell was a very good technical fighter. She don't have a lot of pop on her punches, but she throws her punches with great snap and very good technique. And she initially started off well, But what she had a problem with was making adjustments. And I talk about this all the time. It doesn't matter if I'm talking about the women or the men. If you can't make adjustments in boxing, the limits that you place on yourself as a result will typically put you in the losers column more often than the winners column. Ebony Bridges realized that she wasn't going to be able to outbox that girl early. And from that second round on, she turned up the pressure on Shannon to the degree that Shannon could not compete with what she was dealing with. Now, I will say this about Ebony Bridges. And let me say salute to my brother Daryl Alexander out there in that Cash App donation, man. I appreciate you. He says, for the grind, Sifu. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. Ebony Bridges is like Sean Porter. Yeah, absolutely. In women's division of boxing, she's like Sean Porter. You know Sean is going to bring it. He's going to be rough. He's going to be unorthodox. He's going to be, what do they used to call him? Football Sean, right? Because he come in hut. He's ready to roll through. That's what Ebony did to Shannon last night. Now, because it's women, it's easy to look at it and assess it and be like, oh, this is kind of crude. I saw exactly what was happening. And that's what, if it required that of Ebony to do that, and she did, that's what got her the victory. And I was proud for her victory because she made that other woman fight her fight, and the woman could not adjust. So there was something that she did do very well. She had an excellent 1-2 jab, straight right hand that Shannon was having difficulty staying conscious for receiving on her chin. I really liked it. I liked the performance. I like Ebony Bridges. I have liked her since I saw her in that fight when she came out when her eye was looking like Josh Taylor's eye when he finished with Regis Prograis. The woman is tough. Now, some guys like William Old School love to see her at the weigh-ins, and they can just watch that instead of her fights because she wears those little, outfits that really is for OnlyFans and everything. But that's okay. Hey, she's marketing, okay? But in the ring, that woman is tough. And she brings an element that certain other women do not bring. I just hope that we get to see her in again with certain fighters so that can be a match of contrasting styles and everything. That's what I like about boxing. I really enjoy when someone's able to do that. And in the women's division of boxing, we're seeing more and more. Some of these women fighters are really doing the damn thing, man, and they're not getting enough credit. Yes, it's easy to be critical and crude toward them, but where is the respect? Where is the respect for what they're doing? And I have a great deal of respect for them, and I'm going to continue to support them because they're doing things that the men are just not doing overall. Now, I'm not saying all of the men, but men's boxing is really suffering in comparison to what these women are doing. And I think that fight that Ebony had, I just pulled up her box rec, that may have been her fight against Shannon Courtney when her eye was really swollen, really bad. But I don't know. But anyway, I thought she did very well. And it's just something that I want to acknowledge on that. Now, when you talk about Mr. Luis Alberto Lopez, I was pulling for him, and I thought late in the fight due to his body language and his complaining, he was going to allow them to take the fight away from him. I did have him winning on my scorecard. I thought that he was banging Warrington enough to even get the type of result out of the fight that Mauricio Lara got. I thought it was a tremendous performance. I thought that Alberto can punch like the Dickens, man. That guy can really punch. Did you see those body shots he was hitting Warrington with? You can't tell me that Warrington ribs ain't sore, if not broken, today. He was pounding that guy. And he's very unorthodox, like Prince Nassim. He throws punches from angles that you just don't see. And he hit Warrington early with a shot to the nose that busted his nose and made him fight behind the high guard for the rest of the fight. Did you notice that, K-Rod?
Yeah, I did notice that. The biggest issue that I had with Lopez is that he let Warrington come in when he saw, the opportunity to hurt him. And I think in my honest viewpoint, I think he was trying to let Warrington in like a warlike situation. So I think for Lopez's credit, he definitely had great power hurting Warrington, but he should have pressed up the action a lot more sooner when he saw the opportunity to hurt Warrington and definitely drop him or stop him, because he had way more power to definitely drop him.
Yeah, forgive me. I had a situation here. I had to mute the mic for a second. I apologize for that. But I also want to acknowledge Focus Ball out there with the Cash App. And he says, for much love and appreciation. Hey, man, Focus Ball, we brothers out here and we support one another. I appreciate you, man, and thank you for your Cash App donation. And salute to Devin Blocker out there in the Super Chat, where he says, Stormy B, man, salute, brother. I like the Matrix talk. I definitely appreciate your work. Thank you, Devin Blocker. I appreciate you showing the support to the channel and showing up for the shows, man. Thank you so much. K-Rod, I think that Warrington fighting behind that high guard was due to the power. But what was very interesting is that Lopez was able to punch through that guard a lot. And if he had just kind of stopped focusing on the obvious, which was Josh was definitely hitting him with his head on purpose. He did cause a cut, but the cut didn't end up being impactful on the fight. But I do think that his body work was impactful, because that meant that Warrington couldn't get into the kind of fight that he wanted, because if he got too close to Alberto, those banging body shots were brutal. And I had thought that even though Josh may have come away with the last 3 rounds in the fight, that they might try to take it away from him. And I was very happy to see that they gave him the rightful decision. I felt that Alberto Lopez won that fight. I spoke about this being a situation where if his punching power were true, and I got a chance to watch a little bit of highlights of him, not full fights, but highlights of how he fought and everything before I did my pre-fight video breakdown. I had stated, if his punching power is legit, Warrington was going to be in trouble, and we could see another Lara situation, and that's almost exactly what happened. The only thing was Warrington was not going to let him knock him out, thus the high guard and protecting his chin and everything. But he could not outbox him. He could not trade power for power with him, because it was obvious that Lopez's power was greater. And now we're starting to see a real rivalry in the sport of boxing between the Mexican fighters and the UK fighters. There is something going on now where you cannot deny that those two countries are really going at each other now. So, and it's great to see, man. I just want to grab popcorn and sit back and watch those guys fight. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like somewhat of those like very how should I say unexpected rivalry matchups that just come out of the woodwork to be really good, high level scale fights. But yeah, I think Mexico is the kryptonite to UK boxing. So I think UK fighters or anybody out of the Oceanic or Wales region should definitely stay away from Mexican fighters. But yeah, Luis Alberto Lopez, if he just had a little bit more aggression and more defensive responsibility and not trying to complain to the referee about certain things that Warrington was doing dirty, I think he would have gotten Warrington up and out of there, because Warrington looked like he was about to get stopped, but he was just on cruise control, just trying to fight off of his back foot and fight off of his bicycle, just to think that he was going to win. But he looked mentally defeated. So.
Yeah, it was a good fight too, because we know that he was in hostile territory, and it was like he didn't care. Did you see how he came to the ring smiling and everything, and he jumped in the ring and did this kind of martial arts scissor kick and everything? I was like, this dude ready to go. And he fought like it, man. And it seemed like his personality was like this. When Warrington started reverting to the spearing of the head and stuff, when it got close, he was smiling at him like, oh, I knew this was coming sooner or later. Because they talked about it in his own training camp. So when it showed up, he was like smiling about it and everything. And he had some kind of affable personality, Lopez did. But I enjoyed it. I love seeing a guy who belongs get his opportunity. And that's exactly what that was. He deserved the victory. Just like later, and we can still get to this, about Sandor against Teofimo. When fighters come out and they produce like they do, you have to acknowledge that. It's world championship boxing. It's not, backyard boxing. Even though guys like Warrington only want to fight in their backyard, only want to fight in their company. Why are you not fighting in Vegas? Why are you not fighting somewhere in the U.S. with a nice venue or whatever? Why do you just got to stay over there in the U.K. and go from region to region within your country of what's considered really hometown for you? You see, there's something wrong with that when these guys can't open things up and go out and test themselves in the world. Go fight in Mexico, huh? See, but they don't want to do that. That leaves you to understand that there's a lot more that's suspect about them than not. And I'm very happy and proud for Luis Alberto Lopez, man. And I hope to see great things from him going forward. Even if he only gets to have a couple of title defenses or whatever, there may be a rematch in the card for them. But if it's going to be one, let it be on the neutral territory where the scorecards don't have to be close, and where Josh Warrington will have to, fight against a hostile environment his damn self for a change.
Yeah, I agree. I think, honestly, Josh Warrington is just like a marginal fighter, and I've been saying that for quite a long time, because ever since Shakur Stevenson called him out, he never wanted any parts of, like, challenging himself to the other side of the pond of, I would definitely say, like, American or Mexican level talent, if not, like, other regions in that area. So it just shows to me that he's comfortable where he's at, and I think that's really what shows up the cycle of fighters that are too comfortable in their careers usually end up getting cooked by some other fighters that are very destructive and very heavily skilled to like not, really, care about fighters that are, okay, fighting in their home turf, like home turf a lot. So I think case in point, Warrington is that pure example of a fighter that, he's okay with, everything being on his terms, but once he gets put in there with some, upper echelon talent, it just shows that he's never made to be like a good fighter at all.
Right.
But yeah, but I was gonna finalize with that Ebony Bridges thing about Sean Porter. I don't think she's like Sean Porter, because I think Porter is like a way better fighter compared to her. But I can like agree with the sentiment that she does have like a football Sean Porter type of like come forward style, just as far as just like applying pressure. But I think just like ring IQ and boxing fundamentals wise, competed at like at the higher tier level. Like I don't think that's really there.
Well, she's a winner, K-Rod. She's a winner. And the thing about it is, I'm not here to tear her down. I'm not here to tear any of the women down. If you don't see why I said that, that's fine. That you're entitled to your own opinion. That's cool in the game. But there are fighters out here who are doing certain things in the sport that are enough to generate interest. And I think she does that with her career. Again, some people just look at the woman from the physical side, the allurement, But I look at her accomplishments in the ring. I really do. And I like what I see when she performs in there. And I don't expect everybody that boxes out there to be able to box like Clarissa Shields or knock out people like Amanda Serrano or Savannah Marshall. I expect to see variety in the sport of boxing when it comes down to the ladies. And that is exactly what's happening. And I can enjoy an assortment of side dishes. You know what I'm saying? I like corn, I like peas, I like carrots, I like, potatoes. It don't all have to be just one thing, and that's okay. That's great. You want to move forward to this card for the ESPN?
Yeah, let's get right to it. I'll talk about the preliminaries. Tiger Johnson versus Michael Hahn. I didn't agree with the stoppage, but I can understand why Michael Hahn didn't do his thing. Because, he looked to be like a durable fighter, but, once Tiger Johnson got into the rhythm, it was not really like his really best performance. And I think honestly, just based off of like what I saw, he is a good fighter, but I just don't think these are the right opponents that he needs to be facing. And I'm not too sure what campaign he's going to be campaigning at, but people say he's going to be fighting at 140. But some other people say he's fighting at welterweight. But I think preferably he fights way better at 147 because he's like a really big guy. So I think if he's fighting at the welterweight division, that's a tough gauntlet of guys that are in this division right now. And I think Tiger, he's going to be in some trouble if he don't make some fundamental adjustments, because I tend to see that he knows how to, turn up the tempo really good offensively, but I think defensively, he's not really being given the right opposition that's going to test him to switch a different gear in case somebody tries to hit him with some really destructive shots. But I think he's a work in product that's not finished yet. So I think developmentally he's going to be good, but I think the opponents need to be increased a little bit higher.
I watched a little bit of those guys. I don't pay too much attention to them because it's so early in their careers. And I already understand how the matchmaking process works for these young fighters like Tiger. It's like they're putting him in with guys that he is supposed to beat. There are no challenges when these matches are made, and when they do run into challenges, it really means that the guy may not be as good as they think he is, and that's usually alarming because you have to be able to be capable. But when you start running into problems early on in those type of matchups, it speaks volumes on what you haven't learned yet or what you haven't shored up. So I knew that those guys were going to win their fights. You know, every once in a while you get an upset, but that doesn't happen enough to make me tune in and be vested or invested, I should say. But when he gets to a stage where he's going to be fighting some 8 to 10 rounders or something like that, then, you know, I'll be interested. But right now, no. Especially on Top Rank, because all they do is set those guys up to make them look good. And I'm going to tell you right now, for those guys that fought on the main card, none of them are ready for the next level. None of them. And I'll say it again. None of them are ready for the next level.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that, like right now.
Yeah, let's skip over those younger dudes and just talk about the guys that were on the main card.
Yeah. I'll start with Keyshawn with Juan Carlos Burgos.
Yeah.
I thought Keyshawn fought like very mediocre. Carlos Burgos, I don't know if it was just his age that caught up to him, or he's just not, have to say he doesn't have like a lot of miles left in his career, but that wasn't like the best version that I've seen out of him. I think compared to him fighting Devin Haney, his style would have definitely knocked out Keyshawn Davis, in my honest opinion. I just think Carlos Burgos, he just didn't put himself in there, in the right fighting style to actually give Keyshawn Davis a really tough test. But I think, it clearly shows Keyshawn Davis, he's not like the fighter that people try to make him out to be. If he was to be like this really good, fast-paced, super ultra, like a tremendous fighter, he should have knocked out Carlos Burgos. And he tried to knock him out in certain rounds, but Carlos Burgos, he had a really good chin, and he has a really good technical ability to survive rounds. But I think Carlos Burgos, he just didn't really apply like enough dedication to the rounds where he should have won those rounds, and he should have used his veteran experience to give Keyshawn like a much a tougher fight.
Well, I think that from Burgos' position that at this juncture in his career, he didn't want to allow the young kid to hurt him too bad. But he knew that the kid didn't have enough to get him up out of there or whatever, which is why he went on and, stayed in the fight. If things would have been more threatening or whatever, I think he would have had his team call it in the corner or something like that because of his experience. But what I admire is the fact that Burgos would take a fight where other guys don't get the consideration. I want to see him fight somebody. The reason being is because he has allowed his mouth to overload his ass. And I want him to get the lesson that he really needs in this sport because he is on the wrong trajectory. What he thinks, what he expresses, and how he performs. I liken he and both Jared Anderson, ironically, they're hugging each other in the dressing room and everything like they're really good pals or whatever, but I liken them to being the same type of guys, temperament-wise, and their approach to their careers. You see, what the average layman may not realize is that Top Rank is feeding them people that will make them look good and make them look menacing and make them look, wow, this is the new whatever or the upcoming whatever. But let me tell you something. There's a couple of guys in a gym somewhere right now that can handle both of those dudes. Huh? I am wise enough to understand that in boxing. So, yeah, a guy can talk the talk. Oh, yeah, feed me this guy, feed me that guy. You can say those names, but until I see contracts signed and you walking on the ring walk into there to face the dude, I don't believe it. And there's too much of that in boxing today. The one thing I like about Matchroom and what they do, and it's not a lot, there's not a lot I like about them at all, is that there's a lot of times they put fighters in situations where their house fighter be getting his ass whooped or get upset and stuff like that. And I like that because it's like it's not supposed to happen, but it does. In Top Rank, it never happens. And even when a guy is supposed to get a loss on his record, it doesn't happen. I don't like that. We saw that last night. And we saw it with T.O. before in the past when he fought Nakatani. There's people that didn't want to give the credit to the Japanese fighter who should have got that decision over him. And I stated it at that time. I said, there's nothing wrong if he dropped that decision. He gets to go back to the gym, work on his craft, come back and be better. But y'all gave him a pass, and he didn't get that. He didn't receive that loss at that time. Then he gets in there with Vasily Lomachenko, and he nearly loses that fight, but then doesn't rematch the guy. And then he gets in there and gets dropped against Bozo Circus, and then doesn't rematch that guy. There's something wrong here. Sandor Martin won that fight last night. I know I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but my points, because it's like I don't like what Top Rank is doing. I think they suck. I think they are well beyond what they used to be, like in the late 80s and early 90s. They have fallen so far away from credibility that it's very hard to watch their promotions. And as I stated early in the show, how in the hell does each and every one of those guys in those four fight cards come out of the fights with belts around their shoulders? And in the sport, each and every division that you're talking about, there's an undisputed champion, if not two champions, with undisputed split between them. And you guys are all got belts around your shoulders. How does that happen? Go ahead, K-Rod.
Yeah, I agree. I think Keyshawn is trash. I don't like him. I used to like him, but just how he's moving at this point, he gets cooked by anybody in the lightweight division that has a very good, heavily skilled set or a heavily rated skill set. But as far as Top Rank goes, I agree. Out of my 2 Top Rank card fights that I've been to, it just seems like that the matchmaking is garbage, but the promotion and marketability is, it's great. It's good that ESPN is, promoting all these fighters really well, but the issue of the matter is just of the matchmaking. If these guys are going to be the next big thing, they need to be matched up tough. They shouldn't be matched up, a bunch of filler fights where they just get good knockouts and they get, good decent victories here and there. Because once it's time for them to step it up to the upper echelon level, that's how fighters get damaged, and that's how fighters get just get brutally hurt, because they're just buying into their own hype, and they're just being gaslighted. And I think that's a very that's a very dumb, risky thing to do, because it's that's what's giving fighters all this mega confidence to talk all high and mighty online to say, oh well, I'm better than you, so therefore there's no reason for you to fight me, blah blah blah. I'll even use one other fighter that's just like Keyshawn. I'll use Chris Colbert. Great example. He thinks he's like all high and mighty because he beat some decent quality names, but once Hector Garcia beat him bad, and Chris wanted that rematch, in which I don't think Chris really wanted it, but still, he still was like talking, he was going to be fighting everybody, like he was going to fight Frank Martin, and then that never happened. And then after that, he wanted to fight Gary Russell, which I could somewhat believe that Chris wanted to fight him, but still, it's just like, if you're going to be talking to be the best in your division, at least put in with the work to put yourself in that category to be a very, notable name in your division. That's basically what I'm saying.
And he could have fought those guys before he fought Garcia, but he didn't. See,
yeah, I agree.
yeah, I mean, it's like, now you're looking to try to come back and hopefully do something on somebody else's dime. No. Listen, man. Boxing is a what have you done for me lately sport. And people like they were living high on the hog for a while, and he was talking a whole lot of mess as well. Now he got to get in line. But the line that he got to get into, there's people willing and ready to take his damn head off. It don't get easier. It gets harder. I love it. I love it. Now, what about Xander Zayas?
Oh, man, you have to ask me that. Yeah, I'll try to be as unbiased as possible because, I try to give as much love and support to all Puerto Rican fighters of my bloodline. But, yeah, man, I just didn't like the performance. I think Salazar showed a lot more heart and grit and determination. And Xander, he just, he bought into the, to the fans, demands. And I think that's what's going to just get him knocked out if he does that. He was boxing beautifully from rounds 1 and 2, and he was doing a very, very good job. But I just didn't like the performance.
Yeah, this is the thing. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. Stop anointing and giving these guys so much credit and everything for beating up people that they've been selected to beat. The whole thing about putting a fighter on a course toward contention is to match them up against style so they recognize what they're facing in the ring. You don't typically want to put guys in there that's going to give them losses, but you want to give them challenges where they have to learn how to adjust. There's that word again, adjustment, and to be able to overcome whatever the difficulty a particular fighter may give you. Some guys might have fast hands. You need to learn how to fight a guy who has fast hands because that's when your timing comes in to play. A guy who has great footwork and mobility, you need to learn how to cut the ring off and to be able to entrap them so that you can engage. Guys who have a bit of pop on their punches so that you can remain defensively responsible and can't go to sleep in there or you will be sleeping in there. Guys that have ring IQ, guys who can make you, they're not going to do what you need them to do. They're not going to do what you want them to do. And you have to make an adjustment to that. See, this is the process of taking a guy who's a prospect and you're putting him on the path toward contention. But when you have a guy that has a series of knockouts, what is he learning to do? But just knock the other guy out? You ain't going to knock everybody out. You're not. So the thing about it is you need to learn what it's going to be like to go deep into fights, what your conditioning is going to be like. Because of your particular output, you may realize that I have to work out harder in the gym because I was winded by round 6. You understand? So this is not what's happening. And the trainers, suck ass as well because they're not conditioning their fighters properly and teaching their fighters properly. So Xander, he had a performance last night that was mediocre. It was average because guess what? He is not up there yet. But everybody was like, oh, he's going to be the new, representative of the Puerto Rican culture and this and that. It's like, dude, there's a ton of fighters that can represent the Puerto Rican culture, not just him. But what you want from him is to get better. Francisco Vargas was a damn good fighter, and they rushed him. They rushed him because they saw the dollar signs with potential. But what's more interesting about the fighter that he was? Maybe he wasn't ready for De La Hoya. Maybe he wasn't ready for Felix Trinidad. Maybe he would have been the guy that come right up behind them. Not like in a generation, but like in fights. Like maybe he could have caught them later, like when De La Hoya ended up fighting Floyd or something like that, or Shane Mosley. Maybe around that era, because if they had taken their proper time, Francisco Vargas would have been a beast. But they put him in tough fight after tough fight after tough fight. And next thing you know, the dude, he never optimized or maximized what he could have had because of the dollar signs that they were chasing. And when you see a guy like young Xander, yeah, he's very young. Was he 18 or something like that? It's like, dude, there's time. But teach him. Let him learn some things. I think Tim Bradley said on the show last night, he don't even have a girlfriend or whatever. Well, you need to get a girlfriend, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if you wait till you start making the big time money and everything, the girlfriend's just going to come and take it from you anyway. Huh? So you might as well learn that the punani don't mean too much because it's all out there. Huh? Yeah. Real talk. It's like you have to put... I'm just saying it for what it is. But let's move on, man. Get to the main event. Go ahead. Or you want to talk about Jared Anderson, because I've talked about him enough already, but if you want to say something about him, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just make a quick comment for him. I don't think he did a good job either. I mean, Jerry Forrest, I'm not gonna disrespect him. He's a really good, durable guy to be fighting decent level marginal heavyweights, but he could have fought like Stephon Shaw or somebody in the top 50 at least. I just didn't really like Jerry Forrest at all as an opponent, because he didn't look like he really wanted to be in there. He just came in to get a paycheck, and he didn't really show anything, but just get beat up to lose. But I'm not sold on Big Baby. I don't think he's going to keep his profile high in the heavyweight division.
Yeah. And the sooner they put him in there with somebody who is capable and will fight back and things of that nature, we're going to see exactly what's up. Huh? He ran off a series of names afterwards. But I guarantee you, out of his next two fights, because he fights kind of regular, right? He fights a little more frequent than some other dudes. But I can guarantee you, out of his next two fights, it ain't going to be nobody out that he said. Nobody. That's a guarantee. So, whatever. Now, as far as the main event, Teofimo against Sandor Martin, let's hear what you got to say, and then we'll get ready to wrap things up.
I thought Teo got exposed. Great knockdown by Sandor. I didn't think that Teofimo he was actually outboxing him, and I was very surprised that Sandor was able to drop him. I think what he needs to start doing a little bit more is just use his jab to the body because, he has such a great jab overall. If he does that first to the body and just mix it up while he's moving his head to be slick and stern with it, then I think Sandor, he could win, up against, anybody, at the top level. I think he did a great job. I was doubting him at first to think he wasn't going to do anything good against Tio because I thought Tio's power was going to take over in the fight. But no, Sandor did his thing, man. I'm definitely, catching on to him, man. I'm happy that he actually showed it to me because I was thinking he was just going to get knocked out. He was going to be, taken into that fight into deep waters, and Tio, he was going to do what he does good best, which is, to knock you out when he get too tired. I don't think Teofimo has all this great power that everybody hypes him up to be because anybody with great power, all it takes is one shot just to knock somebody out, and he's not like that. If Tio fought like that against Gervonta Davis would easily kill him. I'm going to just be honest, a straightforward. But with that performance, it showed me that Tio's not a good boxer against guys with just pure boxing, high on ring IQ, Sandor Martin. And Martin, he did his thing, man. He should have won that. I had it, 6 rounds to 4, 7 rounds to 3.
Yeah, I had it 7-3, easy, with 2 knockdowns. Let's not forget that. 2 knockdowns. So you mean to tell me even the judge who scored it for Tio, 97-93 or something, he scored it, it was like he didn't even score the knockdown. And the other judge that had it a draw, are you kidding me? How, with 2 knockdowns, is it a draw? How? And where did he pull 6 rounds out of his ass on anybody's card that was a judge? Seriously, that sounds like some Canelo Alvarez-like bullshit where they went into that fight, and as long as he finished the fight on his feet, that they would award him privilege. And why would they award this man privilege? I have no idea, because he is not a good fighter. He cannot box. He leaps and lunges, throwing everything with his head first, chin out front. A real fighter with timing and ability will knock him, as the UK guys say, spark out. He leaps and then he sleeps. That's all he knows how to do. He doesn't know how to pump a jab. He doesn't know how to set up body punches. He doesn't punch to the body. He doesn't exercise the ability to cut the ring off, nor does he know how to fight from mid-range. Because anytime something happened at mid-range, it was Sandor doing something to him, not he doing something to Sandor. So where did these judges get scores from? Especially when he was winging shots that were missing to the point that they should have felt the air conditioning from the breeze. What the hell were they thinking? And you're trying to save this guy for what? An annihilation from the top fighters in the division who happen to not be with Top Rank? Josh Taylor, Regis Prograis, Jack Catterall, because he's up there. Devin Haney will be joining soon. Pedraza. There's plenty of action up there. Zepeda. Zepeda sleeps him. You heard Regis say in the post-fight that that guy was more tougher than he thought, and he had to be careful. This guy, all he does is run his mouth, and he and his dad are bad for the sport, just like someone from the UK is quite similar with his dad. running their mouths, and they're bad for the sport. But somehow, Top Rank has an attachment and affiliation with both. You don't find that odd. You don't find that interesting. You don't find that disgusting at the same time and unethical. Some people need a reevaluation. But those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm just, waiting for Theo to get brutally knocked out. So, I hope it happens.
Yeah. So, yep. But that's pretty much what I think about that, man. And I'm going to get ready to go ahead and prepare to wrap things up. I got a few things to take care of. But I appreciate your calls and your subjects that you brought to the conversation. And we got more fights coming up next week. It's going to be interesting. We got to see what's going to happen, how things are going to shake out.
Yep, I can't wait. Boxing is on fire right now, so can't wait for it. Shout out to Frank Martin. I got him by KO, baby.
We'll see. We will see. But yeah, appreciate you, K-Rod. Any final thought?
Yeah, I just want to say shout out to Stormybman. Please still subscribe to him, the OG Sensei. And shout out to the mighty LDBC and CWT. And I am out.
All right. I appreciate you, man. Take it easy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Peace. Yeah, buddy. Man, I can cook on this show, and it's like the time just escapes. It goes by so fast. I see we had some people come in the building, like Woke, We had Laura Sweat Real, Picasso. It's like you get to talking and get on these subjects and be rolling. But I appreciate everybody, man. Thank you. My man Scrapbook Boxing, I see just popped up in there. Appreciate your Scrapbook. He says he tried to call in, but yeah, I had this. I'm only able to take one call at a time. I can't do the multiple call thing. So when I have someone on the line, it has to be once I finish with that person. But yeah. Gonna get ready to get on up out of here. Hope you guys have a great Sunday. I hope that next weekend's fights prove to be entertaining. We'll see. Because sometimes things are just not like what we would like them to be. So trying to see something here. But yeah, also appreciate you, Diana. I know you've been rolling with me real strong, and I appreciate your support and everything, the messages that you left me, and for everybody that left me a message on the community page, I appreciate that as well. Thank you so much. It's been a great Sunday morning call in. We've had great conversation here. I really enjoy that as well. So want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC. And we out of here, man. See you guys next time.
to this day.